I had to sum up reading 1,000 books in a year in one word, I would say unexpected. Before I get into what the challenge was, I want to talk a second about why in 2022 during National Novel Writing Month, I decided as a children's book author that I was going to write 30 books in 30 days. And this challenge was so difficult, and I pushed myself every single day to make it happen. But I did it. I accomplished it. So I think hitting that goal and what seemingly was impossible, but still achieving it kind of stuck with me of, well, what's another goal that I could set? That is when I came up with the idea of reading 1,000 books in a year. So what is the 1,000 book year challenge? It is reading 1,000 books within a year. And that for me was the year 2023. Books that count during this challenge are any book, audiobooks, graphic novels, picture books, ebooks. Any type of book counts. When reading the story, that is what I was focusing on. I did have to finish the book in order to count it. That was another rule that I set for myself. But I didn't have to read the extra things that came with it. I didn't read the author notes for most books. I did read it for some. I did want to track my books somewhere online so that I could really see it visually, and I personally went with Storygraph. I absolutely loved my experience the entire year with it. I didn't even pay for premium. I just was a free member, but I really loved it. I loved the breakdowns that they did. It's not 100% accurate because I didn't get to list some things that I listed as an audiobook. As an audiobook, I did have to add some books, and there were books that it didn't connect with and it didn't connect to. So I know that my count of 1,018 is technically under what I did read. And for me, this was a challenge for me. I really didn't share about it. I would say that most people in my life probably still don't even know that I did this challenge and that I read 1,000 books in 2023. I think I shared at the beginning of the year that I was going to read 365 books, and the reactions that I got to that were so, wow, that's crazy, that I was like, I'm not even going to tell you my real goal then, because there's no way that you would believe me if you are struggling to believe 365. I think that was definitely something that I was not expecting, but I also, when tracking it, I did keep 365 as my first goal on Storygraph, and then I went to 500, and then I went to 750, and then I went to 1,000, because it does tell you oh, you're at this percentage of your goal. And I was not anywhere near where I should have been for 1,000, and I was okay with that, but I also didn't want to have the reminder there, so I just changed my goal throughout the year from 365, 500, 750 to 1,000. Here is the book breakdown for my year. So for quarter one, I read a total of 49 books. That was really low in comparison to my end goal at the year. And you can see in February and March, I only read 6 books. That's it. In quarter two, I definitely had one of my better months in June, and I finally hit my 100th book of the year in April. It actually wasn't till the end of quarter three that I ended up hitting the first goal that I had set on my Storygraph of 365 books. And in the month of September, I hit over 100 books in a single month for the first time. Quarter four is where it gets a little crazy because I really wanted to accomplish the goal, and I ended up reading 413 books in December alone. In October, I hit my 500th book of the year, but it took all the way until December to get my 750th book, and then also reaching my ultimate goal of 1,000 books in the year. Looking at that December, it seemed really, really crazy that I read over 400 books within that single month. However, I also knew how far I had come the entire year and really pushed to accomplish the goal, because I knew that I would not be doing it the next year. Here are some of the most unexpected things that happened while doing this challenge. I really learned how to read multiple books all at once. I can read many different books now and feel totally okay. And I think that was just a skill acquired through the year of reading. It also taught me how to put a book down and when to do that. I would even put a children's book down, and that was okay. And I feel like a lot of times with reading, it's I have to finish the book, and you really don't. There's so many books out there. I really learned how many books I missed. I read 1,000 books, and I didn't even scratch the surface. So I would just put a book back as soon as I knew that it wasn't going to be the right fit for me. I feel a lot more confident now with my decisions in those. The genre that kind of caught me by surprise the most is actually wordless picture books. If that was the only thing that came out of the challenge, I'd be okay with it, because I love wordless picture books. They truly changed my entire opinion on books in general. Even without words, there was still such a deep and meaningful story within those pages. And it's really important to look at many of the wordless picture books, because there are some that I read and I was like, I don't understand anything that's happening. Another unexpected thing for this challenge was having a challenge to myself. With the prior challenge in 2022 with writing 30 books in 30 days, I shared that every single day. I posted every single day as like keeping me on track. And with this one, I again hardly ever told anybody that I was doing it. And so it was so interesting to kind of like see the difference between those and really having to push yourself, because you are the only one who is necessarily knowing about that goal that you have to achieve. And the amount of time and effort it's going to take to achieve that may not be seen, and that's okay. I think setting those impossible goals really, really helps with pushing yourself forward in growth and just every area of life that you want to pursue. And lastly, I'll end with my mindset about reading has completely shifted since completing this challenge. This year, I'm not trying to read 1,000 books by any means, but I'm also not limiting myself. I'm reading any type of book that I have, any type of thing that I would like to read, and really knowing it's possible to read 20 books in a month and have that be okay. During the year, I really strive to complete reading picture books and middle grade books and YA books, because that is kind of the genres that I want to write in. So I was kind of doing research along with this challenge, which was super helpful. But I think reading books in general is something that everybody should do way more than they are. I think it's about finding the right book for you, and that's going to take some time. I am going to create a couple more videos on this topic, one being the pros and cons that kind of happen throughout the year, and maybe why you should or shouldn't do the challenge yourself. And then also I'll share some of the best books that I read out of the 1,000.